Hello and what is up everyone, it is Hachi from the Art of Dota, and this video is going to be about everything you need to know on the new ranking system that was just released 2 days ago on the 22nd. So I already made a video on my own calibration experience on day 1, but I know a lot of you haven't calibrated yet, and this video will help you out. So first things first, you need to know that it actually doesn't require exactly 10 games to calibrate. You need to win a game, so it technically can be indefinitely if you keep losing near the end. So you actually need 9 games plus 1 win at the end to actually receive your badge. I don't know why this is. It might be bugged, but it's hard to tell with these kind of things with Valve, but intentional or not, you will need to win a game. So make sure once you've played 9 games already of calibration that on that last game you try really hard to win, because the MMR changes in the calibration games are going to be a lot higher than if you already received your badge. If you already received your badge, it's going to go back to how it was before, usually plus or minus 25. But in the calibration games, there is like a potential swing of 100 or more MMR near the end, or near the beginning. I would say near the end it evens out and it goes back to being roughly 25 or negative 25. So you don't have to worry too much about it, because even if you do end up on a bit of a loss streak, at that point during 9 games, they're going to know roughly where you're going to be already. So don't worry too much, but try to win that last game, right? It's hard because, you know, you might get bad teammates, but again, you won't receive your badge until you win, so try to get that win as early as possible. I happened to win my last game, but I know a lot of others played their last game, ended up losing, go on a bit of a loss streak, and then they never received their badge, and I wonder why, and this is the reason why. This might change in the future, and I'll make a note if it does, but for now, you will have to win your game to get your badge. I don't know why that is. So another thing is that party MMR is only relevant for the first 5 ranks. So that is, I'm just pull it up. It is Herald, Guardian, Crusader, Archon, and Legend. So for those 5 ranks, party matchmaking or party ranked will actually apply to your badge progress. So it'll take an average, I think, of the party MMR and solo MMR, and it'll give you the badge based off of that. But for Ancient and Divine, it's only going to apply to solo MMR. So the thing about that is there's also another bug where if you played party, it's going to affect your chances of getting Ancient or Divine for your badge. So if you're trying for one of the top 2 badges, make sure you just play solo. Just play strict solo, and then you could play party afterwards after you've already received your badge. Otherwise, you might receive a lower badge than you should, because you played some party ranked. Now, the thing about the new badges is you actually can't go down, and that's why I say if you're trying for Ancient and Divine, just go for the solo first, because once you get a badge, you're gonna have it for however long the season is gonna last. I think 6 months. So you actually will never drop your badge, but your MMR will still drop. So you actually could end up being like, you know, Legend, and then lose a bunch of games and be playing in Archon games, but you're still gonna keep your badge, which is weird, I would say. But there is currently no D-ranking in the new ranking system. I mean, you will D-rank in terms of your MMR, but the badge will not change. Now, if you're also wondering why you can't check, for example, people on your friends list as badge, first of all, they might not have calibrated yet, but right now it's also very laggy, right? So like right now, I know my friend here definitely calibrated already, but I can still only see a question mark on his profile, and it's only because I think it's new system, and with any new implementation from Valve, it's just super buggy and laggy. And just don't worry about your badge. If it disappears randomly, you didn't lose it. It's gonna be there still, but it's just something with the coordinator or the game making it not show. Now, how do you actually want to calibrate the games is going to be a different video. So if you're watching this video to see how you actually want to play your calibration games, we don't have really enough information for that, but all I can say right now is just try to win your games. Just play normally and do your best to win the game. Don't do anything crazy. I definitely experimented with buying like a bunch of sentries and support items. So if you're playing support, make sure you do your job and you should be fine for now. There is no weird trick or abuse right now that has been discovered yet to just calibrate higher. But again, try to have a good impact on the game. If you're playing core, if you're playing support, do your job, get good warding off, and don't die too much, and you'll be fine. But once things get discovered about the new calibration system, I'll make a video on that. But for my calibration games, I just played normal. I didn't take it too serious. And again, people are playing a little bit more try-hard because of this new system. So overall, you're going to have somewhat better quality games, I would say. There's still intentional feeders. There's still, people who destroy their items in AFK and things like that. But overall, over the 10 games, I noticed relatively higher quality games. Not too much, but relatively higher quality. So a lot of you might be wondering what MMRs actually apply to the badges. So here, I'm going to show you my MMR, which is about 5.5, and that's going to be 3-star Divine Rapier. Now I'm going to pull up a chart right now for all the different ranks and their MMR values. So what it turns out to be is it's around 840 MMR per badge or per rank, and then between each star is around 140 MMR. So if you see here, starting from 0 to 140, you're going to be Herald rank, and it goes all the way up to 840. So again, 840 between each rank, and then about 140 for each star. So you can see on this image on the screen all the distributions. So if you were, and again, this is actually a little bit pushed in. So former like 10Ks, 9Ks, they're now 7K. They lost a lot of MMR, right? Former 7Ks are now around 6K. So the MMR was pushed down slightly, but I would say at the lower ends, it's roughly the same. 0 to 800 MMR is about the same as 0 to 800 MMR before, but I would say everything on the higher end was pushed down just a little bit. So let's say you were like 4K before, you might have lost like 100, 200 MMR, but if you're really high MMR, like 7K, 6K, don't be surprised if you lost like 500 or sometimes even 1,000 in the new calibration system, just because of how they handled the new calibration. They kind of pushed everyone's MMR down and consolidated a little bit more, because we had a bunch of like way far out there outliers before, like the 8K, 9K players, and now it's just pushing everyone a little bit closer together. So hope you guys can see this chart on the screen, and this will explain most of the rankings. So if you're 2K, expect to be put into somewhere Archon or maybe Crusader. If you're 3K, expect to be placed in Legend or Archon, and if you're 4K, you're going to be either Ancient or Legend. High 4K to 5Ks, expect Ancient or Divine. So let's get rid of the image. Moving on to the next point. How do you actually check your ranking once you calibrate? I already did it, but I'll walk through it. I know I get this question a lot. So just go to your profile, click on your picture, whatever, and just click the stats here. That's all you need to do, and you're going to see it right here. You're going to be able to see your solo and your party. And this is what they're actually going to use to match you with players. This is basically the old MMR, and it works pretty much the same way. It's just the number is skewed a little bit. At least for the higher end. I would say for 3K to 4K is roughly the same. It's pushed down just slightly, maybe 200 or 100 MMR. For the higher end, it's definitely pushed down. So like I'm 5.5 right now, and that's probably somewhat equivalent to nearly 6K, or at least really high 5K. Like I did go 5 and 5 in my calibration game, so completely even, and I ended up losing 200 MMR because of that. So I think that what I was before is roughly where I am now, just because of how the calibration games went. I went even, and they dropped me 200 MR. So 5.7K before is about 5.5 now. Now, if you played your calibration games and you're wondering why you're placed in the rank you are, again, most of the calibration games are going to be a huge swing in MMR at the start. So make sure you play those first games seriously. Again, if you do really poorly in your first few games, it's going to drop you down a lot, I would say. And this happened to players like Sumail and Arteezy even, where they ended up having a lot of losses in those first games, and they dropped a significant amount of rating just in those first games. And again, the calibrations are a bit weird because they put a very large MMR discrepancy in. So you're going to be, like, let's say you're 3K, you might be playing with 2Ks in some of these games. So again, just try your best, and even if you don't win, I do think it does take into effect your stats somewhat. Again, we don't have more information on exactly which stats in terms of what position you're playing or whatever, but just do your best and play normally. Don't do anything weird or crazy. Just try to like pad stats or anything like that, because at the end of the day, you're still trying to win the game, right? Even if you pad stats and you lose, you're still going to lose MMR. You might lose less, but you're still going to lose. The ideal scenario is you win. Still play to win. So now the matchmaking is a bit weird, I gotta say. So I said it before, but matchmaking is kind of broken, I would say, in the calibration, in the sense that a lot higher MMR players are getting put with a lot lower. And I'm not sure if this is happening in the lower brackets. So you guys have to let me know about that in the comments down below. If you're like 3K and it seems like you're playing with 2Ks or like really low skill players, but at least for me, like, I know in a lot of my games there's 7K players, like really high MMR players that are now right around the same bracket as me. And this definitely helps me out as a support, because supporting high MMR players, let's say, is a lot easier than supporting low MMR players. Supporting low MMR players is like running a daycare, while supporting high MMR players is like, I don't know, I mean, I lost the analogy there, but it's a lot easier. I just gotta say that you literally help them out a little bit, and they take it so far. Whereas supporting like lower skill players, you're like doing everything you can to make sure they have a perfect game, and then they end up feeding anyway. So that's helping out me as a support player. But for a lot of you guys in lower MMRs, I don't know what positions you play, but it might hurt you, because let's say you're like 3K and you are a support player, but suddenly they're putting 2Ks in your game during your calibration games, and it's going to be very hard for you to win those games, I gotta say. So that's something that you do have to watch out for when calibrating, because again, the system right now is just new, and there's definitely, from my own experience and from what I've heard on Reddit and other sources, is that the MMR difference, especially in early calibration games, is going to be very high and varied. Now, what is this new system about? Like, what did they actually change? And in all honesty, not much at all. They literally just reworked MMR system, and again, MMR will now be reset every 6 months, but other than that, everything is pretty much the same. This really affected the higher ends, but for, you know, from 0 to 4K, I would say, it's pretty much the same. It's just now that there is a new ranking system with badges, but that's pretty much it. There's no reward system or anything like that. You don't get like hats or chests or anything like that from getting better rank. You don't get anything other than that little badge on your profile, which kind of sucks. And I can see Valve definitely throwing something in there in the future for, you know, getting Divine Rapier and things like that, but for now there's no other achievement or anything from getting a higher rank or calibrating. But now with the new system, I do think matchmaking in general might be a little bit more chill, I would say, because you don't really try to work towards this MMR number that's going to define you forever, right? Because you know that MMR is going to reset anyway after 6 months, and you can just enjoy the game a little bit more, I gotta say. Again, you're still gonna care about MMR because you're gonna check the profile here, you're gonna like look at stats, and you're, oh, my MMR minus 25 plus 25. But I do notice that if you don't see your MMR. It actually affects your mood a little bit more. Like, you lost, but you still see your badge and you're like, I'm still Divine 3. I know I can still play at this level, and I would say it's a decent change because of that. I definitely felt it, where like if I lost, I don't feel as like tilted. I'm like, all right, I'm still gonna stay this rank, at least for now. It's only been 2 days, so I can't say much more than that. But again, a badge feels better in my opinion than just a number. You know, maybe if you get those really high numbers like 8K and 9K, you can feel good about yourself. But like, what is actually 4,000 on your screen? But at least now you get a badge to track your progress, and you have something to work towards, right? Instead of just trying to get a higher and higher number, because many of us will never get like 9K, 8K, 7K, but it's totally possible to get Divine. So Divine is just from 5K and above, and a lot of people can now work towards just Divine or Divine 5-star and get on the leaderboards. So I think that's a good change there. And in addition, this will affect boosted accounts or sold accounts, bot accounts as well, because like now it will be reset. The ranking will be reset. So unless you will pay for someone to play your calibration games for you, if you buy an account, it's not going to be as meaningful. Where before, like, people would just buy like a 5K account and then only play party on it, and then just show all their friends, oh, I'm 5K, or they do the same thing with a 6K, 7K account. It was actually very common for players to do that. If you look at the stats before, a lot of people would just stop their MMR right at 5K, 6K, 4K, things like that, those milestones, and just like play party and never solo again. And now with this new ranking system, there is actually incentive to continue playing solo once the next season starts, to get your new rank to calibrate and things like that. I think this is going to make the game more enjoyable, at least the rank part of the game more enjoyable in the long run, and we'll see how it actually goes. But this is pretty much all the basics you need to know about the new system. Again, this is most of the information that has been released on the new system, but there's still much more, like how you actually want to calibrate higher. And this is all I have for now, but make sure you stay tuned for future videos. So if you want to keep up with those, make sure you subscribe. If you like this video, it helped you out. Again, this is as informative as I could be on the new system right now, as it's only been 2 days in and we still don't have that much info on it, but I pretty much covered the important points. And again, leave a like if you did enjoy what you heard here. And again, I hope this does help you out in your calibration games and you get the rank that you deserve. So see you all in the next video, which will be the common mistakes that players make while calibrating. I did mention a little bit how you want to play on calibrating in this video, but I'm going to emphasize more on that in the next video. So again, stay tuned, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you want a notification as well, and also remember to like the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everyone.